Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Conversations with Love. I am your host, Rhonda Love, and welcome to my podcast. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. So I need you to call a friend and tell them to pull up, tune in, and let's get this conversation started. Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Conversations with Love. I am your host, Rhonda Love. And we have a lot to talk about today, but before we even start, I got to introduce my special guest. And the special guest for today is Natasha Ramsey in the house. Woo woo!
Hello, everybody. So glad to be here.
Ooh, and I'm so glad that you're here. I really am.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for entrusting me, right?
Always.
So, I wanted to, before we begin, just kind of give the audience an idea of, what we're going to be talking about today, Tasha. Because you and I, this has been a minute. We were just talking and I was sharing with you and I said, hey, I got something. I've been doing this with not a lot, but several people that I knew that I wanted to have a conversation with and or just to share. And I said, I've got something that I want to do. And so we started talking, but then just recently we were talking and I said, Tasha, I think the thing I want to talk about is this imposter syndrome. And then you started talking, and then what did you say?
Well, I had come to you, and I told you that I had recently started having a conversation with myself, and the thought that had started coming to mind was the fact that I had been living life in a deficit mindset.
Right. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And then you started to explain.
So the crazy thing is the thought popped in, but I don't think I had completely defined it right. I knew what deficit meant, right? I knew what mindset was, and I knew the feeling that I had been feeling for so long. And then just this realization that kept coming to mind, and that you've been holding yourself back from a lot of things for so long. And that's when I started realizing you're operating from a space of lack or a space of fear. And so I think I would say that is probably what then, because a lot of people talk about, I'm on a journey. And I think for me, I can honestly say I am on a journey. So this is Tasha on the start of a journey of transitioning mindsets.
I love it. And so when you said that, we were at church, y'all, ain't gonna, for real, we were there. I was like, ooh, Tasha, I love it. That's a great thing. And the reason being was because of the fact that I believe there are so many people out there that are in that same mindset or that same thought, and they're just trying to figure out, how do I get out of this thinking, I'm lacking this, I'm not good enough in that, am I worthy? I'm trying to transform, I'm trying to go into a journey, all these different things. And that's why I was so excited about it. So what, if you can share, and I'll tell you, like I said, with my last guest, which was my husband, you can share, you don't have to go deep, but what is the thing that you would say has been the most of your struggle in terms of that deficit?
Oh, gosh. I think a lot of time, the biggest struggle that I have had has been with me. Right. So I've dealt with a lot of insecurities over the course of my life, not feeling like I measure up, to my peers. But my biggest thing, if I have to be transparent and honest, has been my weight. And that has been really the bulk of my insecurities. Not feeling worthy enough due to my body size, and not feeling accepted due to my body size. And then also just how it's been my body's been received, comments that are made. And so I've internalized that. And so when you hear people say things for so much, for so long, when you internalize that then becomes life, right? That then becomes reality. And so then I'm just like, well, maybe this is true. Maybe I'm not acceptable. And you and I have known each other for the longest. So I've always talked to you about relationships. And the thing that I had to come to realization with that is I feared relationships because I feared being rejected because of my body. I felt that it wasn't accepted, and then I myself couldn't envision a man wanting to be with me because of how I looked.
Yeah. And I remember you saying that, and to be honest, that really kind of broke my heart, that you felt that way about yourself. But what's good, I think, Tasha, in that you even sharing that and saying that and being very transparent, is that you're not alone. You may be feeling it's your size. Some other people may be feeling the lack of, if you will, that they don't feel pretty enough or they're smart enough, and we all have gone through that. Because I think when I was in school, my thing was not feeling pretty enough, if I'm going to be transparent, and smart enough. I mean, I remember being in a geometry class, which my husband was in the same class with me, and everybody get their test back, and everybody would do well, and here my test would come back, I'd have a D. I'd just start crying. Everybody'd be like, listen. And they would be like, oh, bless her heart.
Right. Listen.
So you know what I'm saying? So we all
experience
that. And then the question becomes is, how do we start to get over that? Because you said it earlier, it happens so much, or you hear it so much, that it then builds and it builds, and you begin to feel like this is just where I'm supposed to be. This is just who I am. It's not going to get any better.
Right. So I think what I have, and this is why I say I'm on the start of this journey, because I can't say that I've always been here. So that's where that mindset shift is happening, because it's just like, this can't be life, or I'm choosing for this not to be life. You can choose to stay in the state of mind that you want to be in my opinion. So if you choose to live in a negative space, that's a choice, in my opinion. And so I'm choosing to make the shift, because in my heart of hearts, I know that, I want to be married. I want to be in a relationship. So I have to make this transition. And what is it that I'm going to change for myself to, one, start accepting myself. And then also I had to separate what that acceptance piece. So did the relationship, is that the acceptance piece that I'm after, or do I need to accept me first, right?
Ooh, that right there. And because literally I just wrote down acceptance. And the thing is, if we don't accept who we are, because if you remember a long time ago when we were talking about relationships, and I said, Tasha, I said, baby girl, work on you. Work on you. And I always try to tell young people, female or male, but particularly females, when you're going into a relationship, before you start to go into that relationship, especially like when you're just coming out of high school and you're transitioning into college or whatever, and then college from, to adulthood, work on you, get to know you.
Yes.
And even before, when my husband and I got engaged, when he proposed to me, and he'll tell you to this day, I said, okay, I'll say yes. I said yes. I said, but I got to live on my own.
I remember you saying that.
And I tell every young lady, I said, I did. I said, babe, I gotta do it. I didn't want to go from my mom and daddy's house to his house. Right? So I wanted to be able to accept and love Rhonda and know that she could handle and take care of herself first. If in the event Brother Love decided to skip on or move out. That's being for real, okay?
Right.
So I wanted to make sure I knew that. And so that's what I was trying to, say to you. And I think for every young person or any woman, even an older woman, know who you are. Because I have some friends that are like single, living with, guys or whatever, or looking for guys, and you just got to know who you are.
And what I am finding out for myself is that that's so important and that's so key. I'll share this story. So I was getting my eyebrows waxed the other day, and my waxer, she had mentioned that my sister, who goes to the waxer, so I got to be mindful of everything that I share with my sister. But she was sharing with my sister, or my sister was sharing with her, and she was telling me, she was like, your sister told me that you had went out and you had gone to like one of the really nice restaurants in the city, and like the manager had come out and they had comped your meal. And so when I say years ago, this was years ago. And I was doing this thing because I had watched this episode of Girlfriends.
Oh, Lord.
And I feel like in real life, I am Joan Carroll Clayton, who the whole series, wanted to be married and all the things. But it was this one episode where she was basically told, like, don't wait till you get into a relationship to go out and do the things that allegedly people do in relationships, right? So I decided to go out to fine dining on my own. This is the only time that it's ever happened in life because I've never done it again, but it wasn't a bad experience. And so I was telling her, I was like, it was weird because he did come out, the manager did come out, he comped my meal. I'd never had that happen before. But my mindset said it wasn't because maybe he thought I was attractive. My mindset said maybe he thought I was a food critic. You see, I didn't accept the compliment. Right. I found some other reason why he may have decided to do that. But because it was Valentine's Day, it's couples everywhere. So instead of me saying like, oh, maybe he thought like, okay, this strong, independent sister then came out and did some fine dining despite all the couples around her, I said, oh, there was a reason why he must have thought that I was coming here to critique their food, and that's why he did that. And so that's been my whole life. I've always excused why something couldn't have been just a genuine compliment.
Right. Just because of you. And I think, again, you hit another button that a lot of us can kind of go through. And especially women. If you think about it, a woman can't just, somebody goes, oh, girl, look at you. Your hair looks good. And you're like, no, girl, my hair, I need to wash it. It still look a little bad. Oh, I love your makeup. Oh, no, girl, on this side right here, I need to brush it in a little bit more. We can never just say, thank you. Right. And you said earlier when we were just chatting before we came in or started, what did you say? Oh, I can't remember. And I was like, and you gave it a term where you just can't accept it. Do you remember what that was?
I cannot remember. Honestly, I cannot remember what we said when we were talking about.
Like me. I'm the one that's supposed to be forgetting stuff.
But I do know that when we were talking, because I think you had mentioned something about like my skin, and I said thank you.
Yes.
And then you were just like, way to embrace it. And I was like, but I'm working on that, because the old me would have been like, oh, I just made sure that I'm doing a skincare routine and all this stuff, this, that, and the third. But sometimes we have to accept a compliment for a compliment and not excusing things away. Mm-hmm. And I think that also helps in helping with that mind shift. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy.
No.
So when I told you thank you, everything in my body shuddered, because I was like, and then I sat in it, because I was like, because the next thing in my mind was like, say something that excuses why you have this skin. Don't accept that compliment because you're not worthy of that compliment.
Right.
So you're not who you see and not even just people who I see on the internet. I'm talking about like friends, mm-hmm. who I'm just like, I have a friend who is, at this level and this level. I'm just like, and I don't match up to that.
Ooh, now you're hitting on something else. Mm-hmm.
And so it's like when you have been conditioned from, a young age about, these negative comments that come in, and then you start using that as the baseline of comparison. Mm-hmm. So if people start comparing your bodies, then I'm in a friend group that don't consist of big bodies. So then I'm like, I'm not like these ladies. Mm-hmm. And they're married and they have kids. Mm-hmm. The difference between me and them, my body is different than theirs. So I start doing that comparison thing. Mm-hmm. Or I'm not as far in my career as they are. And so what is that difference? There's a confidence that they have that I lack with confidence. But why do I lack that confidence? Mm-hmm. Because why can't I have that same confidence? So it's a lot of questions that you answer, and a lot of questions that you just have to also debunk, as far as like the past responses that you would have given those questions. So it's a huge transition, and it's work.
It is definitely work. And, of course, while you're talking, I'm writing down notes. And you said compare, mm-hmm. right? And I think that's something else that we tend to do that interferes with that lack of. Mm-hmm. I'm lacking because if I look over there at Sally is like, in terms of what you're talking about, Sally is like a size 4, and mm-hmm. what am I? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's all right, because Sally may look all right in a size 4. Or Susan, or Lord, I can't even talk. Shanae. Whoever, I'm just saying, whoever she is, we tend to do that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I have to say to myself, and you and all of us have to say to ourselves, this is who we are.
Yeah.
And I can't be anybody else.
And you have to accept yourself for where you are, because I used to watch a lot of the weight loss shows back in the day, so Biggest Loser. Mm. And so they even talked about, like, even when you're losing weight, that mindset, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to accept. So what I took away from that, I have to accept who I am at this size, because if I can't accept who I am in totality, mm-hmm. the body may shrink, but the personality of who I am is still going to be the same.
Absolutely. So
I have to be accepting of who I am, whether this size or a different size. So I think what I am learning is that there's that internal work, mm-hmm. of inner acceptance, versus being concerned about the external acceptance.
Exactly. And it's funny, because I was telling you earlier, my mind is always thinking. So like, I'm already thinking, okay, I know another episode we're going to talk about, which a lot of women we deal with is this weight issue thing. And some people get real drastic. We got all these shots that people can take now and this, that, and the other. But to your point, you can lose all that weight, or a person, could gain, because some people are actually trying to gain weight. They can gain weight.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, seriously, because they're like, oh, I'm too skinny. Right? And I want to be big. I want to have boom, ba-ba, the boom, boom, ba-ba.
That's so true.
Right?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like it never ends. We will never be satisfied with us. And I think as we get older, and I'm a little older than you, and I'm not saying I'm totally there, but as you do get older, I think you start to reflect and have this realization talk with yourself to say, self, I don't have pretty feet. Most of my friends that know me, y'all already know, they laughing right now because they didn't heard me say that plenty of times, right? So, but I had to embrace that. And I'll never forget my mom saying, because I would tell her, Mom, what? Everything else you gave me was good, but and she said, girl, you better be glad you got feet to walk on.
I know that's right.
Hello. And I said, well, okay, we're going to put it in perspective. But even that still doesn't mean that you look down at somebody and you're like, oh, I wish I had that. And you can't. Your journey is your journey.
Yes.
And and to that point, yes, and I'm going to pause, y'all, my listeners. We are kind of all out there, but this is Conversations with Love. Okay? I'm just saying. All right. So now I forgot what I was going to say. And it's okay. See, that's what happens when you get old. Oh, I know. But it's, I'll just say this, it's your journey. And I know when I shared with you, when I went through an interview, and for those of you who know me too, I'm in sales, lost a lot of jobs due to downsides, blah, 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 blah. And so I've been wanting to get in this particular sales. Finally got in it, but I remember in the interview, I told the guy, I said, everything that I have gone through in my life has prepared me for this moment. Everything that I have gone through in my life has prepared me for this moment. So you can even take that, because you may still be this outer shell of Tasha, but everything that you've gone through, and maybe you'll lose, maybe you won't.
Right.
But everything that you've gone through is preparing you for that person, if God so wills, right? Or if you're going out to die by yourself, you will be, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
And I'm not no therapist, so nobody, don't be calling me. We just having a conversation, okay? But anywho, yes.
But when you were saying that, it did call to mind, because if God does bless me with a husband, and I want to be a wife and a mother. And so when you mentioned that everything that I've gone through prepared me for this moment, in the instance that I am blessed with a husband and a child, if I have a young girl, based on my experiences that I've gone through, I have experience to be able to share with her and pour into her, so that when she goes through life a little bit more confidently than her mother went through.
Yeah, and I think everything that we go through in, again, within our lives can also be a preparation to help those who are suffering.
Yeah. Yep.
And some people, I won't say believe it or not, but some people are suffering more than we are and deeper. I mean, we may be deep in it, but some people are deep where they can't get out. I mean, it's just like it becomes destructive.
Yeah.
Type of deep. You know what I'm saying? So you may have some people that go through the anorexic people, you know, who are finding different ways to, you know, because I'm just using that as an example since we were talking about weight, where I got to get this off, you know, and you just go up and down. That's why I always tell my sisters who are trying to lose weight, let's not get into this thing that we're doing everything. We're starving ourselves for 20 hours and, you know, and I understand sometimes we got to do these little challenges to kind of get ourselves motivated, but let's not get so deep into that.
Right.
Where it becomes destructive.
Absolutely.
To our being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I used to be down there. So I've been through the yo-yo dieting and everything. So you just have to decide what is healthy for you, right? And again, that's the internal piece that you have to work on. As far as I'm a love me for where I'm at, and then if I do want to lose the weight, who am I losing it for? Am I losing it for myself, or am I losing it for the acceptance of others? If I'm never going to lose a pound, can I love me at the space that I'm in right now? Right.
And it reminds I was thinking about that movie, The Help. Yeah, it's The Help, where my girl said, "You is kind." Girl, I can't even remember what the saying is. You is smart.
You is important.
You is important. I don't know why that came up, y'all, for real. I don't know why. But I just think that's when I remember that scene when she was talking to that little girl. And I think the little girl just felt, you know, she wasn't feeling loved at the time. And I think she was a little chunky girl. And I think my girl, not Regina King.
Viola Davis.
Thank you, Viola, was trying to encourage her, right? To say, you are worthy.
Yeah.
You are worthy.
And I don't think, as women, especially Black women, in my opinion, I don't think we're told that enough. And I don't think we tell ourselves that enough.
And we don't tell each other.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. We don't tell each other that enough.
Do you know what I'm saying? You know, because I think sometimes we can be as sisters too, you know, we concentrating on all this other stuff instead of just saying, you know what, sis, I'm proud of you. Look at you, girl. Because, I mean, I'm in different organizations and I see people that are doing successful things. And, you know, every once in a while, let's be true. You know, like you were saying earlier, you felt like you should be at a certain point in your life. So sometimes you'll look and go, oh, man. And then I think in those, again, people who know me know that I'm genuinely happy for them. But it's, you know, there are times I'll think in my mind and then I have to like immediately say, nope. You're good with Rhonda, and you be good for that sister, and be excited for them.
Yeah.
And it's actually okay to go, girl, look at you today. Looking all sharp. Girl, I like that. We need to do that for one another.
I agree.
You know, that support. So I know that we've talked about, we kind of went all over the board, but the whole theme of it was that lack of.
Right.
You know, having that deficit mindset. And I know that can mean so many things, like those of you who are education folks, you know, it's a totally different meaning. But for what we were talking about today, it's just the lack of.
And then living in that space of fear.
Yes. And you know what I will say, which is good, because you're going to bring a good lead in. We're going to be talking about that in my next episode with another guest.
Nice.
And, you know, hello, fear. But bye-bye, wow, baby. Yes. Bye-bye is gone.
So long, farewell.
So long, farewell.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Good riddance. Well, Tasha, thank you. I'm going to have you back. I really want to at some point be able to get a group of us in here. But right now, hey, it's just the start. Love is just beginning, y'all. Love is just beginning. So y'all sit tight, because it's getting ready to be right. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all, look, that's the other thing. I'm going to do Rhonda because I like to have fun.
I love it.
And those of you, again, who know me, you know that's it. So we're getting ready to sign out. But as you know, I've got to leave you with a love note. And this is something that I just actually heard. I think I was on my Peloton bike or something. And this is what they said. And I thought, I like that. And it says, stop looking for shortcuts and find your mountaintop. Hello. Stop looking for shortcuts and find your mountaintop. So on that, hey, this is Conversations with Love, and Rhonda Love is signing out. See ya.
What this should feel like, and at times I don't know if it's real life. I had a plan in my mind, but it still might change. If I got a Cuban, would you steal my change?